I used to think I understood color. Red, blue, green, yellow. The rainbow we all learned as kids. 7 colors, maybe a few shades in between. Simple, right? Then I learned about the mantis shrimp. This creature sees colors that don't exist in our reality. Colors we can't imagine, can't describe, can't even comprehend. It has 16 color receptors in its eyes. We have 3. It can see ultraviolet, infrared, and polarized light simultaneously. It processes visual information so fast that our movies would look like slideshows to them. But that's just the beginning. The mantis shrimp possesses a punch so powerful it creates light. Actual light. From pure kinetic energy. The water around its strike boils instantly, reaching temperatures nearly as hot as the surface of the sun. The shock wave alone can kill prey. The punch itself? It hits with the force of a bullet. And this animal is only 4 to 6 inches long. Scientists have been studying mantis shrimp for decades, and the more they discover, the more they realize this creature shouldn't be possible. Its eyes defy physics. Its punch breaks thermodynamics. Its armor uses engineering principles we're only now beginning to understand. Nothing about the mantis shrimp is normal, and today I'm going to show you why. The first recorded scientific encounter with a mantis shrimp didn't go well. In the 1960s, researchers at the Smithsonian Institution were cataloging marine specimens when they placed a mantis shrimp in a standard glass aquarium. Within hours, the tank shattered. Not cracked, shattered, exploded from the inside out, water flooding across the laboratory floor. The researchers were baffled. How could a small crustacean break quarter-inch glass? They tried again. Thicker glass this time. Same result. The mantis shrimp punched through it like it was tissue paper. One researcher described picking up a mantis shrimp with protective gloves. The creature struck his thumb through the reinforced material. The impact felt like being hit with a hammer. His thumbnail turned black, the tissue beneath pulverized. And this was just a 4-inch specimen. In Australia, commercial divers nicknamed them thumb splitters. In Hawaii, they're called rock smashers. In Japan, hand choppers. Every culture that encounters them independently arrives at the same conclusion. Do not let this animal hit you. But aggression alone does explain mantis shrimp. Plenty of marine animals are dangerous. What makes mantis shrimp extraordinary isn't violence. It's precision. It's engineering. It's the fact that every aspect of their biology pushes against the limits of what physics should allow. Marine biologist Roy Caldwell spent 40 years studying mantis shrimp. In one interview, he described watching a peacock mantis shrimp hunt. The creature spotted a crab hiding in coral. It didn't charge. It calculated, adjusted its position, then struck with such speed the crab exploded. Literally exploded. Shell fragments scattered across the reef. The mantis shrimp calmly collected the edible pieces. Caldwell measured the strike. It took 3 milliseconds. In that time, the mantis shrimp's appendage accelerated faster than a .22 caliber bullet. The water around the impact point cavitated, forming bubbles that collapsed with enough force to generate light and heat. This wasn't just hunting. This was weaponized physics. And here's what shocked researchers most. This ability didn't evolve recently. Fossil evidence suggests mantis shrimp have possessed this strike for over 400 million years. They perfected this technique before fish had jaws, before plants colonized land, before anything we'd recognize as complex life existed. 400 million years of being the ocean's apex engineer. 400 million years of strikes so fast cameras can barely capture them. 400 million years of seeing a reality we can't access. What kind of evolutionary pressure creates an animal like this? And why hasn't anything else evolved similar abilities? To understand that, we need to go back, way back, to a time when the ocean was a battlefield, and survival meant inventing weapons no one had ever seen before. Mantis shrimp belong to an order called Stomatopoda. The name translates roughly to mouth-foot, which doesn't even begin to capture what these animals actually are. They split from other crustacean lineages around 400 to 340 million years ago, during the Carboniferous period. This was an alien Earth. Oxygen levels were 35% higher than today. Insects grew to horrifying sizes. Dragonflies had 2-foot wingspans. Millipedes stretched 8 feet long. And in the oceans, competition was brutal. Early mantis shrimp faced a world of armored predators and prey. Trilobites dominated the seafloor, their exoskeletons harder than modern crab shells. Prehistoric fish developed bone plates, shield-like defenses against attackers. Ammonites built spiral shells with chambers that could withstand crushing pressure. Everything was fortified. Everything was armored. In this environment, standard predation strategies didn't work. You couldn't just bite through your prey. You needed specialized tools. Siege weapons. Most predators evolved crushing mandibles or shell-drilling mechanisms. Slow, methodical approaches. But mantis shrimp went a different direction entirely. They evolved appendages that could shatter armor through pure kinetic impact, not gradual pressure, not grinding, instant catastrophic force. This is called a dactyl club in spearers and a raptorial appendage in smashers. There are two main types of mantis shrimp, and understanding the difference is crucial. Spearers have appendages lined with barbs, like switchblades made of chitin. They hunt soft-bodied prey, fish, worms, squid. When they strike, the barbs impale and grip, preventing escape. The motion is fast, but not supersonic. These are ambush predators, hiding in burrows and striking passing prey. Smashers, on the other hand, are the ones that break physics. Smashers evolve blunt, hammer-like clubs on their appendages. These clubs are among the most sophisticated biological structures on Earth. And I'm not exaggerating. Materials scientists study mantis shrimp clubs the way engineers study carbon fiber. The structure is layered, with different materials providing different functions. The outer layer is hydroxyapatite, the same mineral in our bones and teeth, but it's arranged in a unique crystalline structure that distributes impact force evenly, preventing cracks from propagating. Beneath that is a region called the periodic region, made of chitin fibers arranged in a helicoidal pattern. Imagine plywood, but at a microscopic scale, with each layer rotated slightly. This creates a structure that absorbs shock without shattering. The innermost layer is striated, dense chitin that acts as a spring, storing elastic energy during the wind-up and releasing it during the strike. This isn't random. This is engineering. Layered composite materials, stress distribution, energy storage and release. Principles that took humans thousands of years to discover. Mantis shrimp evolved naturally over millions of years. But the club itself is only part of the weapon. The real innovation is the mechanism that powers it. Mantis shrimp use a technique called a spring-loaded latch mechanism. Think of a crossbow. You pull back the string slowly, storing energy. Then you release the latch, and all that energy discharges instantly. Mantis shrimp do the same thing, but with muscles and exoskeleton. They contract specific muscles, bending a saddle-shaped structure in their appendage. This stores elastic energy, like compressing a spring. A biological latch holds the appendage in place, preventing premature release. Then, when the latch releases, the stored energy explodes outward. The appendage accelerates so fast it outpaces the mantis shrimp's own muscular contraction. In physics terms, this is a system that amplifies power by sacrificing duration. The strike lasts only milliseconds, but in that fraction of a second, the mantis shrimp generates forces that would require muscles 10 times larger using conventional mechanics. This is biological machinery, a living ballistic weapon, and it evolved not once, but multiple times independently in different mantis shrimp lineages. Convergent evolution creating the same solution to the same problem. How do you break the unbreakable? But evolution didn't stop at the weapon. The mantis shrimp's entire body is optimized for impact. Their muscle fibers are among the fastest contracting in the animal kingdom. Their nervous system processes visual information at speeds that make our reflexes look glacial. And their eyes are something else entirely. If the punch is a mantis shrimp's weapon, the eyes are its targeting system. And understanding how those eyes work will change everything you thought you knew about vision. Let's talk about how you see color. Your eyes contain 3 types of cone cells. One sensitive to red light, one to green, one to blue. Your brain combines signals from these 3 receptors to create the full spectrum of colors you perceive. This is called trichromatic vision, and it's how most mammals see the world. Birds do better. They have 4 types of cones, allowing them to see ultraviolet light. Some mantis shrimp species have 16 independent color receptors, not combined channels. 16 separate ways of detecting light wavelengths. To put this in perspective, if humans have a standard definition TV, mantis shrimp have a resolution we don't have technology to match. When scientists first discovered this, they made an assumption. With 16 color receptors, mantis shrimp must see an incredibly rich, complex color spectrum, far beyond human comprehension, the ultimate visual experience. Then they tested it, and here's where it gets weird. Mantis shrimp are actually terrible at distinguishing similar colors. In behavioral experiments, they performed worse than humans at telling subtle color differences apart. Wait, what? 16 color receptors, but worse color discrimination? This made no sense until researchers realized something crucial. Mantis shrimp aren't processing color the way we do. They're not combining signals from different receptors to create a unified color experience. Instead, they're using a parallel processing system. Each receptor fires independently, creating instant, pre-categorized color recognition. Think of it like this. When you see yellow, your brain combines signals from red and green cones. Processing takes time, milliseconds of neural computation. But mantis shrimp have a dedicated yellow receptor. They don't compute yellow. They just see it instantly without processing. This is called serial processing versus parallel processing, and it sacrifices color resolution for speed. Mantis shrimp see fewer color distinctions than us, but they recognize colors thousands of times faster. Why does this matter? Because mantis shrimp live in a world of split-second decisions. When you're hunting in coral reefs, where prey can vanish in milliseconds, processing speed is everything. A mantis shrimp doesn't need to appreciate subtle color gradients. It needs to instantly recognize prey or not prey, threat or not threat, strike or don't strike. But color is only the beginning. Mantis shrimp see polarized light. Most animals can't see polarization at all. Light waves vibrate in all directions. Polarized light vibrates in only one direction. Certain surfaces, water, glass, shiny fish scales, reflect polarized light. To us, this is invisible. To mantis shrimp, it creates an entirely separate layer of visual information. They use this for communication. Mantis shrimp have polarized patterns on their bodies, visible only to each other. Secret signals, invisible to predators, used for mating displays and territorial warnings. It's like having a private communication channel that no one else can intercept. They also see circular polarization, something so rare in biology that mantis shrimp are one of the only known animals capable of detecting it. Circular polarization occurs when light waves spiral as they travel. This happens in highly reflective environments, like looking through water at a shiny surface. Scientists still don't fully understand why mantis shrimp evolved this ability, but it likely helps them detect transparent or camouflage prey. And then there's the structure of the eyes themselves. Mantis shrimp have compound eyes, like insects. But unlike insect eyes, which are fixed, mantis shrimp eyes move independently. Each eye rotates on 3 axes, giving them trinocular vision with each eye. They have depth perception with one eye closed. They can track 2 separate targets simultaneously, one with each eye. Each eye is divided into 3 regions: upper hemisphere, middle band, and lower hemisphere. The middle band contains most of the specialized color receptors. The upper and lower hemispheres scan for movement. It's like having 6 eyes, each with different jobs, all working in parallel. But here's the most shocking part. Mantis shrimp eyes process information locally in the eye itself before sending it to the brain. They have neural tissue directly integrated into the retina, performing pre-processing. Most of the visual computation happens in the eye, not the brain. This reduces latency, speeding up reaction time even further. Some researchers believe mantis shrimp don't have a unified visual experience at all. They don't see in the way we understand seeing. Instead, they have multiple simultaneous, parallel visual streams, each providing different categories of information. Movement, color, polarization, depth, all processed separately, instantly available for decision-making. It's less like seeing and more like reading sensor data. A constant stream of actionable information, optimized not for beauty or complexity, but for speed and survival. And this isn't a recent innovation. Fossil evidence shows that ancient stomatopods had similar eye structures 160 million years ago. This visual system has been perfected for longer than birds have existed. But vision is useless without the ability to act on what you see. And when it comes to action, the mantis shrimp strike is where biology becomes weaponry. Let's talk about what happens when a mantis shrimp decides to punch something. The mechanics are so extreme they sound like science fiction. But every detail has been measured, filmed, and verified in laboratory conditions. Phase 1, the wind-up. The mantis shrimp locks its prey in sight. Its eyes, already tracking the target, send signals to motor neurons. Muscles begin contracting, but not the striking muscles. These are preparatory muscles, pulling back the spring-loaded saddle in the appendage. The biological latch engages, holding the appendage cocked, storing elastic potential energy. This takes anywhere from a few seconds to several minutes, depending on the situation. The mantis shrimp is patient. It waits for the perfect moment. The latch releases. In the first microsecond, the saddle-shaped spring decompresses. Stored energy converts to kinetic energy. The appendage accelerates at 10,400 g-forces. For reference, astronauts experience about 3 g during a rocket launch. Fighter pilots black out around 9 g. The mantis shrimp's appendage endures over 10,000 g, and it does this multiple times per day. Phase 2, cavitation. At peak velocity, the club travels at 23 meters per second. That's 51 miles per hour. Doesn't sound that fast until you remember this is happening underwater, where drag resistance is 800 times greater than air. Achieving this speed in water requires force equivalent to a bullet in air. The entire strike, from start to full extension, takes 3 milliseconds. In that time, the appendage travels about 2 inches. To accelerate that fast over such a short distance requires forces that would tear human muscle from bone. Phase 3, cavitation. Here's where it gets truly bizarre. The club moves so fast it outruns the water itself. As the appendage shoots forward, it creates a vacuum pocket behind it. Water can't fill the gap fast enough. This forms cavitation bubbles, pockets of near vacuum in the surrounding water. These bubbles collapse almost instantly, usually within microseconds. And when they collapse, they release energy, a lot of energy. The implosion generates temperatures between 4,000 and 5,000 degrees Celsius. That's hotter than lava, nearly as hot as the sun's surface. For a fraction of a second, in a bubble smaller than a grain of rice, conditions exist that shouldn't be possible in Earth's ocean. Plasma forms. Electrons strip from atoms, and light is emitted. This phenomenon is called sonoluminescence, the production of light from collapsing bubbles. The mantis shrimp creates light from punching. Phase 4, the shock wave. The collapsing cavitation bubbles produce shock waves. These shock waves travel through water, hitting the prey a second time, microseconds after the initial impact. This is called a 1-2 punch. The first strike is the physical club. The second strike is the shock wave. In many cases, the shock wave alone is enough to stun or kill prey. Even if the mantis shrimp misses a physical strike, the shock wave can still incapacitate the target. It's like having a backup weapon that fires automatically. High-speed cameras, filming at 40,000 frames per second, have captured this entire sequence. Researchers can see the appendage blur, the cavitation bubbles form and collapse, the shock wave ripple outward, and the prey's shell fracture, all in slow motion, all in 3 milliseconds of real time. Phase 5, the impact. When the club strikes solid matter, crab shells, snail shells, glass aquarium walls, the force is devastating. Measurements show impact forces exceeding 1,500 newtons. That's about 340 pounds of force concentrated on a surface area the size of a fingernail. To put this in perspective, a professional boxer's punch delivers about 400 pounds of force distributed across an entire fist. A mantis shrimp, for inches long, generates nearly as much force concentrated in an area 100 times smaller. The pressure per square inch is comparable to a gunshot. Shells don't crack. They explode. Fragments scatter. Soft tissue pulverizes. Even if prey survives the initial strike, internal injuries are catastrophic. And here's something that baffles material scientists. The Mantis shrimp's club doesn't break. Despite enduring these forces thousands of times over a lifetime, the structure remains intact. Hairline fractures appear, but the layered composite design prevents them from spreading. Micro damage is repaired during molting, when the mantis shrimp sheds its exoskeleton and grows a new one. Researchers have tried to replicate this material. Engineers use mantis shrimp club structure as a template for designing body armor, airplane hulls, and blast-resistant materials. The U.S. Air Force funded studies analyzing the periodic region's helicoidal structure, hoping to create stronger, lighter composite materials for aircraft. Nature engineered this 400 million years ago. We're just now catching up. But there's a problem that should have made this weapon impossible in the first place. Newton's third law: for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. When a mantis shrimp punches forward with extreme force, that same force pushes back against its own body. The recoil should shatter its appendage, dislocate its joints, or pulverize its internal organs. But it doesn't. Why not? The answer involves engineering solutions so sophisticated they seem designed. First, the club itself. Remember those layered composite materials? They don't just protect against external impacts. They also absorb recoil. When the club strikes, the helicoidal chitin layers compress slightly, dissipating backward force. It's like a built-in shock absorber. Second, the appendage joint. The saddle spring mechanism doesn't just store energy. It also acts as a dampener. After the strike, the saddle flexes again, absorbing recoil energy and preventing it from traveling up the limb into the body. Think of it like a car's suspension system, softening impacts that would otherwise destroy the vehicle. Third, the mantis shrimp's body structure. Their exoskeleton is reinforced in specific regions, creating internal bracing. These reinforced sections act like rebar in concrete, distributing stress loads across the entire body, rather than concentrating them at weak points. Fourth, the muscles themselves. Mantis shrimp muscle fibers are arranged in a pinnate structure, meaning they branch at angles rather than running parallel. This increases force production while also providing structural support. The muscles don't just contract, they stabilize. And finally, the strike is unbelievably fast. By accelerating and decelerating in just milliseconds, the mantis shrimp minimizes the duration of recoil forces. The shorter the impact, the less time destructive forces have to propagate through the body. Every aspect of the mantis shrimp's anatomy is optimized not just for attack, but for surviving its own attack. It's a weapon, a delivery system, and a shock absorption mechanism, all integrated into one biological package. But this raises a deeper question. Why does the mantis shrimp need this much power in the first place? What is it hunting that requires bullet speed strikes and miniature explosions? To understand that, we need to see how mantis shrimp actually live. Mantis shrimp are not the mindless killers their reputation suggests. They are intelligent, deliberate, and surprisingly social. Some species are monogamous, pairing for life and sharing burrows. Others are fiercely territorial, defending the same crevice for years. And all of them are strategic hunters. Let's follow a peacock mantis shrimp through a typical day on an Indo-Pacific coral reef. Dawn breaks. The mantis shrimp emerges from its burrow, a narrow crevice carved into rock or coral. It doesn't wander far. Its territory extends only a few meters in any direction. But within that small range, it is the apex predator. It moves slowly, deliberately. Eyes swivel independently, scanning for movement. The upper hemispheres of its eyes monitor the water column above, watching for threats. The middle bands focus on the reef floor, searching for prey. Crabs, snails, clams, anything with a hard shell. A hermit crab scuttles into view. The mantis shrimp freezes. Its eyes lock onto the target. Calculations happen subconsciously. Distance, speed, trajectory. The crab pauses, unaware. The mantis shrimp shifts position slightly, adjusting its angle. Then it strikes. The crab's shell shatters. Fragments scatter across the reef. The mantis shrimp doesn't chase the remains. It waits, patient, as the crab's broken body settles. Only then does it approach, carefully extracting edible tissue from the wreckage. This isn't frenzied feeding. It's methodical, efficient. The mantis shrimp eats what it needs, then moves on. No wasted energy. No unnecessary kills. But hunting isn't its only challenge. Mantis shrimp must also defend their territory. And this is where things get interesting. When two mantis shrimp encounter each other, they don't immediately fight. Instead, they perform a ritualized threat display. They spread their raptorial appendages, showing off the size and color of their clubs. Larger clubs mean more powerful strikes. Brighter colors signal health and strength. The two animals assess each other. Sometimes, the smaller individual retreats immediately. No fight necessary. But if both are evenly matched, escalation begins. They strike the ground between them, creating shock waves. It's a demonstration. This is what I can do to rock. Imagine what I can do to you. The vibrations carry through the reef. Other animals sense a disturbance and keep their distance. If neither backs down, actual combat begins. And here's where it gets fascinating. Mantis shrimp don't aim for lethal strikes in territorial disputes. They aim for the telson, the armored tail segment. It's the toughest part of their body, evolved specifically to withstand strikes from other mantis shrimp. Fights become armored duels, each animal hammering the other's telson until one retreats. Researchers measured these strikes. In territorial disputes, mantis shrimp pull their punches, using only about 20% of their maximum force. They're not trying to kill each other. They're testing resolve. The animal willing to endure more strikes wins the territory. It's a war of attrition, not annihilation. But there are exceptions. When a mantis shrimp encounters an intruder in its burrow, a place where retreat isn't an option, the strikes are full force. No warning displays. No ritualized combat. Just immediate, overwhelming violence. Because in that moment, the burrow's owner is fighting for survival, not just territory. Mantis shrimp are also surprisingly long-lived. Some species live over 20 years, ancient by crustacean standards. They molt regularly, shedding their exoskeleton to grow. Each molt is vulnerable. Without their armor, they're soft, defenseless. Many hide in their burrows for days, waiting for the new exoskeleton to harden. And during mating season, behavior shifts dramatically. Males perform elaborate displays, flashing polarized patterns visible only to females. They dance, showing off their colors, their clubs, their fitness. Females are choosy. They select mates based not just on size, but on burrow quality and territorial success. Some species, like the purple spot mantis shrimp, form lifelong pair bonds. They share a burrow, hunt together, and defend their territory as a team. If one dies, the surviving partner often remains in the same burrow, alone, for the rest of its life. It's a level of social complexity scientists didn't expect from a creature with a brain the size of a grain of rice. But intelligence isn't just about social behavior. It's about learning. And mantis shrimp learn. In laboratory experiments, they remember which hiding spots contain prey. They avoid areas where they've been injured. They recognize individual researchers, reacting differently to people who've handled them versus people who haven't. One study tested whether mantis shrimp could learn to associate a colored lid with food. Within days, they were selectively targeting the correct color, ignoring others. This suggests not just pattern recognition, but decision-making based on learned associations. This is an animal with fewer than 1 million neurons. Humans have 86 billion. And yet, mantis shrimp demonstrate planning, memory, and social complexity that rival some vertebrates. So why? What environmental pressures created such intelligence in such a small package? The answer lies in the reef itself. Coral reefs are battlegrounds. They're the most biodiverse ecosystems on Earth, packing thousands of species into small areas. Competition is ruthless. Every crevice is contested. Every food source is defended. Survival requires not just strength, but strategy. Mantis shrimp evolved in this environment. Reefs provide structural complexity, thousands of hiding spots, ambush points, and territorial boundaries. A mantis shrimp's burrow is everything. Shelter from predators, base for hunting, nest for reproduction. Losing it means death. This creates intense selection pressure. Animals that can secure and defend prime burrows pass on their genes. Animals that can't, don't. Over millions of years, this shaped mantis shrimp into territorial specialists. And the best way to defend territory? Overwhelming force. A reputation. One strike, one kill, and every neighbor knows not to intrude. But reefs also provide opportunities. Coral structures create acoustic environments where shock waves travel efficiently. A mantis shrimp strike produces vibrations that carry through rock and coral, advertising its presence. Potential rivals hear the impacts and avoid the area. It's a form of acoustic territory marking, intimidation through sound. Prey species evolved defenses. Crabs developed thicker shells. Snails grew layered armor. Clams burrowed deeper. This created an evolutionary arms race. Thicker shells meant stronger strikes were needed. Stronger strikes meant better clubs evolved. Better clubs meant even thicker shells appeared. And this arms race is still happening. Researchers comparing mantis shrimp populations across different reefs found that populations with harder shell prey have slightly larger, denser clubs. Evolution in action, measurable across generations. But reefs are fragile. Climate change, ocean acidification, and pollution threaten coral ecosystems worldwide. As reefs degrade, mantis shrimp populations decline. They need structural complexity. Open sand flats don't provide the crevices and burrows they depend on. When coral dies, habitats disappear. Some species adapt. A few mantis shrimp populations have colonized rubble zones, areas of broken coral and rock. They excavate burrows in sediment, creating artificial structures where natural ones no longer exist. But these populations are smaller, less stable. The complex social structures seen in healthy reefs break down. Mantis shrimp are also indicators of reef health. Their presence signals a functioning ecosystem with adequate hiding spots and prey diversity. Their absence suggests degradation. Marine biologists use them as sentinel species, early warnings of environmental decline. And there's another threat, the aquarium trade. Mantis shrimp are striking animals, colorful, active, fascinating to watch. But they're also difficult to keep in captivity. They destroy tank equipment, kill tank mates, and require specialized care. Many captured mantis shrimp die in transit or shortly after arrival. And every wild-caught individual is one less reproducing in natural habitats. Conservation efforts are complicated. Mantis shrimp aren't endangered as a group, but specific species, particularly those with limited ranges, face population pressures. The challenge is that we still don't know enough about their ecology. Basic questions, like how far they disperse, how often they reproduce, how long larvae drip before settling, remain partially unanswered. What we do know is this: reefs need mantis shrimp. They control populations of herbivorous crabs and snails, preventing overgrazing of algae. They excavate burrows, creating habitats for other species. Their presence shapes the entire benthic community. Lose the reefs, and we lose the mantis shrimp. Lose the mantis shrimp, and the reefs become a little less stable, a little less diverse, a little closer to collapse. Scientists are still discovering new things about mantis shrimp. Every research expedition brings surprises. In 2018, researchers found a mantis shrimp species living at depths previously thought impossible. In 2020, a new species was described from Indonesia, bringing the total known species to over 450. Each one slightly different. Each one adapted to specific niches. But beyond taxonomy, mantis shrimp are inspiring technological innovation. Engineers study their clubs to design better body armor. The helicoidal structure, with its layered, rotated fibers, provides impact resistance without excessive weight. Prototypes using this design show 20% better energy absorption than standard Kevlar. Aerospace companies are exploring mantis shrimp-inspired materials for aircraft fuselages. The goal is to create panels that can withstand bird strikes and debris impacts without cracking. Early tests are promising. Medical researchers are investigating mantis shrimp vision for imaging technology, the ability to see polarized light. could improve cancer detection. Tumor cells often have different polarization properties than healthy tissue. Cameras that detect these differences could provide earlier, more accurate diagnoses. Robotics engineers are building Mantis shrimp-inspired actuators, mechanical systems that store and release energy rapidly. These could power faster, more efficient robots for search and rescue operations. Imagine a robotic arm that can break through rubble with Mantis shrimp-like strikes, accessing trapped victims in collapsed buildings. And there's even military interest. The U.S. Navy funded research into Mantis shrimp strike mechanics, exploring whether similar principles could improve underwater projectiles or create more effective propulsion systems for miniature submarines. But perhaps the most profound impact is philosophical. Mantis shrimp challenge our assumptions about perception and consciousness. Their visual system is so different from ours that it's impossible to know what their subjective experience is like. Do they perceive colors we can't imagine? Do they experience polarization as a separate sense, like how we experience sound separately from sight? Philosophers call this the hard problem of consciousness. We can measure brain activity, map neural pathways, describe behavior, but we can't access subjective experience. We can't know what it's like to be a mantis shrimp, and maybe that's okay. Maybe the point isn't to fully understand, but to recognize that reality is bigger than our slice of it, that there are ways of experiencing the world we can't access, that nature has solved problems we're still working on. The mantis shrimp is a reminder that we live in a universe stranger and more wonderful than we tend to assume. So, nothing about the mantis shrimp is normal. It sees colors that don't exist in our reality. It punches fast enough to boil water. It creates light from sheer kinetic force. Its eyes are sensor arrays processing multiple parallel streams of data. Its clubs are composite materials we're only beginning to replicate. Its strike uses spring-loaded mechanisms and shock absorbers that would impress any engineer. And it does all of this in a body 4 to 6 inches long. A creature that's been perfecting these abilities for 400 million years. A creature that was already extraordinary when dinosaurs first appeared, and remained extraordinary long after they vanished. We share this planet with animals that experience reality in ways we can't comprehend. They see what we can't see. They hear what we can't hear. They solve problems we haven't even recognized yet. And the more we study them, the more we realize how much we still don't understand. The mantis shrimp exists at the edge of biological possibility. A living reminder that evolution doesn't just optimize, it innovates. It experiments. And sometimes it creates something so strange, so powerful, so perfectly engineered that it seems almost impossible. But it's not impossible. It's just nature doing what nature does best, solving problems with solutions we never would have imagined. And that, to me, is the most extraordinary thing of all. Creating these videos takes an enormous amount of time and research. I want to keep pushing the boundaries, bringing you deeper dives into the natural world with better visuals and richer storytelling. But I can't do it alone. If you believe in this mission and want to help me create bigger, better films, please consider joining as a channel member. Your support gives me the time to craft these stories the right way. Thank you for watching. And until next time, there's another incredible creature waiting for you in the next video. I think you'll love it.